My apologies. We'll bring that one back in just a minute. You might recognize the voice, an old folkie from 1987. Gathered 30 friends in a studio in Burlington, Vermont. Picked a bunch of his favorite songs, I expect. And we're going to welcome that folkie to Boston at noon on Saturday. There may be a few folks there on the common. I have a friend, Ailie Ham from Brewster, that is part of the welcoming committee, let's say.
Good morning. Good
morning, Ailie. Thank you. Ailie, is that right?
Ailie, yes. Good morning.
I'm so glad you come to community radio.
Thank you.
And right now, we're finding out that these mics, you don't have to hang right on them.
Okay.
So you should be okay. It sounds good. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes, that was Bernie, and it was Oh Freedom, and it was recorded in 1987 for cassette. And they sold 600 to 800 cassettes.
Really?
It was 2014. It was reissued, a CD reissue, and all. I actually understand that Bernie made $2,600 finally. They made nothing on the cassette because the production was a lot. Production's gone down. So anyway, that's under the aegis of celebrating a folk celebrity to our neighborhood, and Boston will qualify. So please, and we're going to go on to a few more of those that were recorded in 1987 before the 45 minutes is out.
Wonderful. Yeah, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Ailie Ham, and I'm a volunteer for basically a group of I'm organizing a group of volunteers on Cape Cod that really want to see Bernie in the White House. And I am not an official spokesperson for Bernie Sanders. I am a volunteer. And I fell in love with Bernie about 15 years ago when I lived in Vermont. And I experienced his policies firsthand in several different circumstances. One being that I had a dear friend that was having a baby, and she was in distress when she was having her baby, and she needed to get to the hospital as fast as possible. And if she didn't have the type of medical care that they have in Vermont, she wouldn't have made it. And they medevaced her to Dartmouth and saved her life, and she's living a very fruitful life with her family to this day. Many situations that I can recall. And Vermont is an amazing place. The community is so supportive and loving and really, really is integrated with the land and supports agriculture, organic agriculture, which is very, very important. So living there taught me many, many lessons. And I could go on about that, but that was the beginning of my experience with Bernie Sanders. And then when I left Vermont a little bit, I was in 2002, I took all that with me, and it's still with me to today. Yeah.
Tomorrow we have a sort of a rally on Cape Cod at Rotary in Hyannis at the Airport Rotary.
Absolutely.
It's going to start at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I was there in 91 when we had a first Gulf War rally. But Bernie was one of the very few people that voted against that.
That's right.
Crazy
That's
move.
right. Exactly.
We Cape Codders of Peace and Justice spoke on video at the time, and we knew what was going to happen, and it all happened the way we could see it happening, and Bernie could see it too. So.
Yes, absolutely.
So that we have, certainly we have healthcare issues, we have government care issues. That's really what we're talking about. But there's also peace and war issues. Let's play one more from Bernie and we'll get back. Okay?
Awesome, sounds good.
From 1987, he gathered his friends in a studio, and this is what came out. And we're back. Boy, that brought it up to date, huh? That fella from Vermont seems to have been paying attention the last few years.
Absolutely.
40 years.
Absolutely.
I'd like to re-welcome Ailie Ham to our studios here. People's Radio on the tip of Cape Cod, broadcasting to the world.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me
very
just
much.
say, this is Outermost Community Radio, WOMR 92.1 FM, Provincetown. Furthermost Radio, WFMR 91.3 FM, Orleans. And we stream around the world at WOMR.org. Welcome, Ailie.
Thank you so very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, we really are doing our best here on Cape Cod for Bernie Sanders. We have a very strong group of volunteers, and we're excited about getting together tomorrow night at 4 o'clock in Hyannis at the Rotary for our rally. And then we will be canvassing as much as we can, and shaking hands and getting to know people that we haven't met yet, and supporting Bernie Sanders by, representing him very well.
I'm warning you now, I'm going to bring some drums. I'll bring extra drums in case there are people who want to drum. I do this every week, and I won't be doing it on Saturday, it doesn't seem. I think I'm going to be going off Cape on Saturday. Surprise myself, but I like to drum with other people. And I might find some people drumming on the Common. I might even find some people that'll drum down in Hyannis. We'll have to see. So details on that. Where can people count on parking? It's a little...
So I would park in the Staples parking lot, and then across from the Staples parking lot, there's a lot of space there. And that's, it's pretty ample space.
It's sort of behind where Nantucket Sound was.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's what I assumed. Right. Yep.
Again, I did this once with 12 inches of snow on the ground at 18 degrees. So nobody it was perfectly clear skies. And we had hundreds and hundreds of people showed up. We didn't stop the war, but neither did the million people in the streets in Rome and London. So we're here to try to keep this alive.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And let's let folks know about Saturday.
Okay. So on Saturday, we obviously have Get Out the Vote on Cape Cod, which is incredibly important, and we're supporting every single burner to do that, get to the polls. And then most of our volunteers on Cape Cod are going to be canvassing, but there are some folks that are going up to Boston for an incredible rally there, and Mr. Bernard Sanders will be there.
So I realized he really is going to be there. And I saw him on the stage in Tacoma, and I have a dear little friend.
Tacoma was incredible. It was, and it was very short notice. And there were just about, I think that the counter at the door, I saw somebody on Facebook say it was like, it stopped around 19,000 some odd. And then I heard people were lined up outside. And then there were people lined up in cars. So we're talking thousands of people outside.
And Tacoma's sort of the cowboy side of Washington too. It's not Seattle. It's not Portland.
Right. Right.
I mean,
exactly.
I'm not disparaging at all.
No, lots of connection with incredible Bernie supporters that are working class. A lot of them are independents. And
we call ourselves unenrolled
in Massachusetts.
Right?
Exactly. And the unenrolled voter is a very powerful voter, because I think there's a lot to be said about the independence that they carry with them and that they bring into their vote. And
I think that's a big thing that we at Community People's Radio, even though we're speaking about one candidate who's been around for 40 years, but and he's doing his best every day. He and Jane, I gotta love Jane. I think they're
Jane.
What a team.
Yes, absolutely.
But getting out the vote is for everybody.
Yes.
Everybody. I mean, there are other decisions that people are making that are going toward this primary, and I respect anybody in their decision as long as it's well thought.
Yeah, exercising your right as an American to vote is a powerful, powerful thing. And if I ever come across anyone who is on the fence in their decision, I do everything I can to basically say, I support you in your decision. And that's really powerful, because that's what we celebrate here.
It's diversity.
Diversity.
It's thinking for yourself, looking at your situation.
Exactly.
And I know that Bernie is going to include women on his cabinet, and perhaps
I am
hopefully.
so excited. And you know what's interesting is I have what's interesting about that subject. One point is that I have a lot of women friends who are in women's studies, PhD, and you know, I've watched them just one by one come to us and you know, come into the fold basically, or
Yeah.
you know, and see how feminism is really supported by Bernie Sanders. And if you lived in Vermont, which I did, you would understand that it's really a part of the culture, supporting women.
Right.
Really.
Madeline isn't the governor anymore. Who's the governor right now? It was Madeline Kunin. I can't remember. It's okay. We aren't going to. You're not running for president. We don't have to call you out. But they had a woman governor not too long ago. Let's hear that guy Bernie, recorded in 1987. We'll bring him up. This is an old favorite. We played this a lot the beginning of the month or last month with MLK. Let's do this thing. And we're back. This Land Is Your Land is 80 years old this week. It was written by Woody Guthrie in 1940 as a reaction to God Bless America, actually. He said, wait a minute, I need a people's anthem. Well, there was actually in 2016, 30 more Vermont musicians did a tribute to Bernie. And he wasn't in the studio then, but I know he played with, is it Vampire Weekend back in Tacoma maybe, just recently. It was somewhere, big rally, and he sang This Land Is...
I think it was Iowa, if
Iowa?
I'm not mistaken. Iowa. Yep, Iowa.
I just found out all the places he's going to be this weekend.
It's amazing.
Utah,
It is
but that's next week.
It's incredible. I think he's going to be, it's incredible. Like he's here and then there and here and then there. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely incredible.
So any details about Saturday at the Commons?
They haven't released a lot of details yet. They've got a lot of surprises in store, and I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm
and
very,
great weather.
very excited.
Great weather.
Great weather.
Right now we got rain, but after this afternoon, things are going to clear up. We'll dress warmly.
Dress warmly. Yes,
Yeah.
dress warmly and wear good shoes so you're comfortable, and be prepared to do a little dancing and some cheering. And
They do say, I mean, we're not talking concert, but we're playing this musician who recorded back in 87. Doors at 10. So they're expecting people to get there a little bit early. So folks that want to be up front, you know what it's like, and when you want to see the guy who's going to be doing some talking. So, but 12 noon is sort of ground zero. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so, what most of us on Cape that are here, that are volunteers, that are going to be canvassing and shaking hands with folks, that by the way, when you show up at somebody's door on Cape Cod and you're obviously very polite and respectful, they're amazed that you're actually there and that you're showing them love. And you just want to know. And even if they're not, even if they may be a Republican or an independent who hasn't made up their mind, showing them a wonderful smiling face and giving them Bernie love, they respond really, really well. And we're excited to do that. So those of us that are working really hard on the ground here are going to be cheering everybody on from a distance. But we want the folks that are able to go to have a lot of fun and enjoy it.
Can you give us a number or a website or something that people can contact you if they want to help out?
Absolutely.
What's
Feel
your
free
best bet?
to call or text 774-208-7346. We're very well organized, and we will set you up digitally while you're out on the road if you have a smartphone, and if you do not, we will set you up with somebody who does. And yes, we're very well organized. So you just would have to text me, and I can set you up with exactly what you need.
From Cape Tip to the Canal.
Exactly.
I know. I've seen.
Yes,
I've seen the
exactly.
list. Some of them are some of my favorite people are stepping up to the plate at this point. We do have two events on one event on Cape Cod and one not too far away in Boston tomorrow. I'm speaking with Ailie Ham from Brewster.
There are a couple of tabling events that I left out. One in Orleans at the Stop and Shop on Friday from 1 to 5. And then on Saturday, we just had a last minute schedule for the Shaws in Falmouth. So that's really exciting. And it's been awesome to have local business support us. And again, you walk in and there are some Bernie supporters there that work there, and there are some that are voting for other candidates, but we all seem to have a really great, warm rapport.
That's great. I did, tabling isn't something I do very often, but I did a shutdown pilgrim tabling during Oyster Fest, and there are people that said, "What do you mean? If we can't have nuclear energy, then we aren't going to have electricity in our houses." And I said, well, let's talk about that. There's better ways.
There are better ways. There's so many other options. I actually drive an electric car, and I've driven an electric
Which
car.
one?
I have the Nissan Leaf.
Leaf, okay. Good.
And I could talk about this for hours.
We're going to get you back in, and we will.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Do you know Madeira? Venkatesh, she's doing sustainable Cape.
I don't, but
you will.
But but what I can say is that it takes an adjustment. But they have vehicles now that really support most lifestyles, and that it's very possible to not have a gas car.
On that, we shall overcome.
Right on.
Well, I think that's what's going to come up next. Good. And this guy, he did this recording back in '87, so this is sort of Throwback Thursday. I think Ann Mayo suggested that we could Throwback Thursday, 1987, and it was going on to cassette. Well, we have the technology. Good morning. Timeless. That guy Bernie, I don't know, he got on the radio back in '87. I'm going to have to cut this off right here so that no, that's it. I'm going to go back. Good. And we're here with Ailie Ham, and she's going to give us a wrap-up on what we've been speaking of this morning.
Yeah.
We got
absolutely.
one more song with our friend Bernie Sanders. There we go. We're up.
Awesome. So I wanted to just talk quickly about a few things that have been brought up recently. And one of the things is the Bernie bro myth. I just want to say I don't know a Bernie bro. I don't even know who these people are. And I have like 5,000 friends on Facebook, and I've never seen these people. But recently, a wonderful article was written by Paul Strubin for the Inquirer. And it basically, he went and he met with a bunch of Bernie folks after New Hampshire and then into Massachusetts. And his conclusion is that, yes, it's a complete myth. So I would support checking that out. Another thing that I would support checking out is this very awesome new tool called the Bernie Tax. It's bernietax.com. You can literally go and put in the amount of income you have coming in, and then it will calculate your healthcare costs and tell you how much you're going to save. And it's pretty miraculous, because I think there's also a myth about, how much will we be taxed and how much will we get back? Well, it's pretty amazing, because with Medicare for All, there will be no more premiums, no more deductibles, no more copays, no more out-of-pocket, no more medical bills, dental, and vision included. So basically what will happen is that you will be saving a lot of money. And then I'll just end with, what is socialism? And I'm just going to say this very, very simply. Lenin, it was communism, Marx was socialism, and FDR was democratic socialism. And if today you are on Social Security or participating in any social government services, that they were created by FDR, who was an amazing president. And if you are receiving Social Security or you are planning on it, you are participating in democratic socialism.
And we have a champion of the government being compassionate for all people.
That's
and
right.
We may have a chance to vote in that direction on through November. Let's hope so. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Massachusetts is coming up. When is Super Tuesday?
Super Tuesday is on Tuesday.
This coming Tuesday.
This coming Tuesday.
Everybody
And
get out and vote.
Everybody get out the vote.
And however you are enrolled, you can enroll as a Democrat and reverse that.
Absolutely.
If you so choose.
One thing I'll say is if you cannot get to the polls, please call or text 774-208-7346, and we will send somebody to come and pick you up and get you to the polls.
Ailie, thank you so much for coming
You're
in
very
this
welcome.
morning. I'm going to finish up with Banks of Marble, a little esoteric, but I must admit I've been posting a few reminders that Bernie was well, there's lots of antecedents to Bernie Sanders. Occupy sat down in the streets and they said, let's talk about inequality. And nobody knew how to spell that word back 10 years ago. And we all thought they have no leaders. They have no agenda. Well, we're back.
That's right.
So we're going to finish up with that guy. Bernie did a recording for cassette back in 1987. I want to thank Ailie Ham, and I hope we'll see you in Hyannis tomorrow at 3:30, 4 o'clock at the Rotary.
I
and
will
then
be there.
Bernie will be in Boston at noon on Saturday.
That's right.
Good morning. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.